Now that you've had a chance to look at a couple different business plans, you might say, "Wow, these are really long." You might have looked at some of at your own programs, and you might have thought, "Wow, some of these are a little shorter than others." Um, Point being, all business plans look different, and one of the points that QRIS makes is that the business plan is written, but that it's also used to drive decisions and really make decisions, and that it's not just a written document that is made, put on a shelf. Because the business plan is great in of itself, but really the act of creating the business plan and using it to drive those decisions and create the direction and the strategic priorities of the program are really what's most valuable. I think this quote from the nonprofit business plan development from the Healthcare Georgia Foundation is really telling. Business planning is the process of gaining organizational agreement on long-term and short-term goals, and when it's properly managed, can take an organization well beyond agreement on overall direction and goals. The idea being that it's not just putting these ideas and goals on a piece of paper, but giving you the tools to make those goals a reality and work towards those strategic priorities. The Bridgespan Group has a wonderful article on really taking people through the steps of creating a business plan. We'll share that link with you later on in the video. And I really like that they think of it as the business planning process offers nonprofits decision makers a rare opportunity to step back and look at their organization as a whole. Because it really is a time to connect the dots between mission and programs, and then to specify the resources that are required to deliver those programs, and to establish performance measures that allow everyone to understand whether the desired results are being achieved. And so it encourages strategic thinking, not only while the plan is being created, but also afterward, because the implementation leads to new challenges, and then you need to make new decisions. So some of you who are taking this course, I imagine, aren't in the position to make a business plan. You might be involved in the day-to-day operations, and maybe you hadn't seen the business plan before you asked your supervisor to see it. But the business plan really is the piece where you're going to see that connection to connect the dots between the mission and the programs. And I say it's so important and so valuable because oftentimes the people making the business plan are maybe the board members and the executive director and a few other people. And it's really important that it's clear that the mission and the finances are driving the programs. If the program and the mission are mismatched, then they need to be rethought. Does the mission need to change to match the program, or does the program need to change to really match that mission? And are the finances going to the right place? If the mission is to promote literacy among the neighborhood that you're in the greater Boston area, and all of the spending is going towards art supplies, are you really working towards your mission? So thinking about that is a great time in the business plan. It's a great time to look at that and think about it. The business plan also allows for those strategic priorities to really look towards the future. Think about what the goals are. Are you looking to build your program, grow it? Do you want to reach more people in your neighborhood? Do you want to expand to reaching more families and thinking about family engagements more? That might be something that's been discussed, but never really been a priority for the organization. Getting that to be a part of the business plan really allows finances, allows human resources, allows that support to make it a strategic priority. And so as you can see, that business plan then really is going to make a big difference in the development of the program and in child outcomes. So the business plan isn't just a written plan about business and finances and the organizational structure, but thinking about what is our mission and how are we going to reach it? And really taking that time to have those discussions and ask those tough questions and have those tough conversations, that's when you're really going to get to the heart of what your organization's strategic priorities are and talk about how are we really going to reach those goals. So it's really important that if you don't have a business plan, that you get on it and you take some time to do it. It will be time consuming. It is not an easy task. And so here at the bottom of the screen, I provided an article from Bridgespan that I think does a great job really jumping people off, getting them off to a good start. And if you need support, there are a lot of supports here in the area to support you. Boston included can provide supports. Other programs through EEC also can provide supports. And if you do have a business plan, look at it. Are those strategic priorities still in mind? Are you reaching those deliverables and milestones that got set out? Or has the business plan not been touched since year 2000? And now 16 years later, we're looking at it saying, all right, are we still on the same path? Or do we need to rework this? So this business plan is the time to ask those hard questions as a whole organization and really think about where you're headed. What is the short and the long-term direction of our program? Once you have the business plan in place, it's great because now you can meet that QRIS Level 2 requirement. You have more clarity on what your strategic priorities are, what the direction of the organization might be, even that is just one or two short-term or long-term goals. There's also some other really great ways that you can use your business plan. So let's take a look at this slide that lists a couple of them. First of all, it gives you a clear and compelling reason for your mission. So some of the examples that were provided in the course room, especially in the executive summary and in the market research, they've shown that they have a mission, they have a vision, and there is a market for their program. There is a need in their area for what they do. So this can be used internally or externally. You can show this to your board members. You can show this to new employees. You can show it to anybody internally to say what we're doing has a purpose and it matters. You can also show it externally to really show it could be a new funder. It could be a new partner to really show what you're doing has a purpose and that you have strategic direction and that the market is there and that your organization or your business is viable and that it's needed. It's also great for marketing and fundraising, especially if you're looking at those business partners who they might have a business plan of their own. It would be great to be able to say, you know, I understand that maybe you haven't worked with a nonprofit before or a youth development organization. Here's our business plan. Let's show you how serious we are about having strategic priorities and thinking towards our future and making sure that we are reaching these milestones and goals. Because it shows commitment to and strategic thinking. It also shows continuous quality improvement, which is a big piece of QRIS. We're always looking about how we can improve our programs because we always want it to be the best it can be for our kids, for our families, for our community. It helps you recruit and hire new staff, especially maybe at that higher level, and also recruiting new board members, being very upfront and clear, here's the direction of our organization, here's what we stand for, and maybe giving them that document would be a great way to say, read this over, and then we'll talk, so that they at least have an introduction before you talk with them more. It's also great for engaging your board of directors because you have a clear goals, and once you talk about those goals with the board of directors, then they can identify how their skills can support you in your vision and your mission, and maybe some of your goals for the short or long term. And then you can also go on to discuss one piece at each board meeting. Most of the times the board will be involved in creating the business plan. They really should be. This will vary program to program, but the board of directors should be included in developing the business plan. So it's a great way to get them on board to really understand the mission, the vision, the priorities of the organization so that they're committed and they understand what direction the organization is headed in, and they have a lot more buy-in when they've created that business plan and they've really understood each individual piece.